What turns an innocent child into a monster? Not magic, not evil, something far more disturbing, because it's real. Vecna isn't just a villain with powers. He's a textbook case of how trauma, rejection, and absolute power can rebuild a human mind from the ground up. And by the end of this video, you'll see something unsettling. The steps that created him aren't fiction, they're psychology. Let's break down the mind of Henry Creel.
Every monster has an origin.
Henry's begins not with rage, but with isolation. As a child, Henry felt fundamentally different from everyone around him. He didn't connect, he observed. While other children played, he studied them, the way a predator studies prey, but also the way a deeply lonely mind tries to understand a world it can't belong to. In psychology, this early disconnection has a name. It's the soil where antisocial patterns grow. A child who cannot bond, who feels unseen, begins to build an inner world where he is the only real person. And everyone else is just scenery. Henry wasn't born hating people. He was born unable to reach them. And that gap, that unbearable loneliness, is where the first crack formed. Then Henry discovered he had power, real power. The ability to control, to move, to hurt, with nothing but his mind. Here's what psychology tells us. Power doesn't create character. It reveals it, and then it amplifies it. Give a wounded, disconnected mind absolute power, and you don't get a hero. You get someone who finally has a way to act on years of buried rage. But power alone wasn't enough. The real turning point was rejection. When Henry's abilities were discovered, he wasn't understood. He was feared, contained, treated as a thing to be studied. Not a person to be loved. Think about that. A child who already felt like an outsider is now told explicitly, "You are not one of us. You are a monster." And here's the cruel psychology of it. When you label someone a monster long enough, you hand them an identity. Henry didn't choose to become Vecna in a single moment. He was slowly convinced that it was the only thing he was allowed to be. Psychologists call this the self-fulfilling prophecy. Treat a person as irredeemable, and you remove their reason to redeem themselves. Henry's transformation wasn't a fall. It was a surrender to the role the world had already written for him, which raises the most disturbing question of all. So what is Vecna, clinically? He shows the markers of several overlapping patterns, and this is what makes him so compelling. He's not one diagnosis. He's a collision of wounds. First, grandiosity. By the time he becomes Vecna, Henry doesn't just want power, he believes he's superior, that the world is broken, and he's the only one clear-eyed enough to fix it. This is the narcissist's core delusion. I am right, and everyone else is asleep. Second, a complete collapse of empathy, not because he can't feel, but because, to survive his own pain, he had to shut feeling down entirely. Empathy became a threat, so he killed it, in himself first. And third, the most chilling, a sense of mission. Vecna doesn't see himself as a villain. He sees himself as a corrector, a force of nature cleaning up a flawed world. The most dangerous people in history rarely think they're evil. They think they're necessary. That's why Vecna terrifies us on a level the other monsters don't. The Demogorgon is an animal. Vecna is a philosophy. He has reasons. And somewhere in those reasons, we recognize a twisted echo of human logic. The part of us that, when hurt badly enough, wants the whole world to feel it too. But there's one final layer, and it's the reason his story actually matters to you. Here's the uncomfortable truth the writers buried inside Vecna. He is what happens when pain is never witnessed, when a person's suffering is ignored long enough that it turns inward, hardens, and comes back as cruelty. Every element of his psychology, the isolation, the rejection, the grandiosity, the mission, exists in smaller forms in ordinary people. In the coworker who needs to be right, in the person who can't apologize, in anyone who decided at some point that feeling was too dangerous to risk again. Vecna is an extreme, but he's built from ordinary parts. That's the genius of him as a character. And the warning. We don't fear Vecna because he's alien. We fear him because some quiet part of us understands exactly how someone gets there. The line between victim and villain isn't a wall. It's a series of small choices and small mercies that were never given. Henry Creel was failed before he became Vecna. That doesn't excuse what he became, but it explains it. And understanding the how is the only thing that lets us recognize it early in others and in ourselves. The clock is ticking. The question is, which version of yourself is it counting down to? See you in the next breakdown.